us. We're live. All right.
Do I do this? I don't think.
Cancel, yeah, cancel.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to November's Fairhaven Community Management Team meeting. Welcome to everyone here in person at the library, and welcome to everyone here online. It's good to have you all here. And we are live recording, so if just a couple of reminders, if you do not want to be seen online, you can go ahead and just turn off your camera. A couple of ground rules that I want to go through really quickly before we begin is to just stay focused on the no fault problem solving, step forward and step back. So if you tend to talk a little bit more, just give some room for others to join in the conversation as well. We're focused on open, honest, safe space and communication. Listen with open minds, believe in everyone's best interests, be action oriented, decide what we want, when we want it, and plan for its happening. We're Fairhaven Center collaboration, and we proceed and on time to honor our agenda, although tonight we are starting a little bit late. I apologize for that. And with some quick brief Zoom instructions, just make sure to keep the microphones muted, use the chat box when you'd like, and the recording has already started. We're going to officially call the meeting to order for November, and we'll do the roll call of the board.
I'm not paying attention. Liz,
Present.
Gina, present. Abby,
Present.
Adam,
Present.
Lee,
Present.
and Christina, myself, I'm present.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Christina. And I know you've been working on this, Adam. Have we established quorum?
I am fairly certain, but give me 30 more seconds.
Okay, I'll do that. And while we're working on that, we'll move on to approval.
Oh, no, yep, we hit it. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you. So before I move on to approval of the meeting minutes from last month, I just wanted to ask to amend the agenda now that we have quorum, because we left off on the paper agenda by accident that we're going to discuss nominations and elections. So we just wanted to ask to amend the agenda.
I move that we amend the agenda to add election of officers for the Fairhaven Management Team.
I second. It's Sally.
Sally seconds.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All in favor?
All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed or any abstention? Opposed? Abstentions? I don't see any here in person nor online, so we will let that move. Thank you. And moving forward to the approval of last month's meeting minutes, just really checking in to make sure that nothing needs to be changed, edited from last month. If not, then we would consider them to be approved. So anyone here, either in person or online, that had anything that needed to be changed from last month? I don't see anything, so that will also be considered to move forward and be approved. Moving forward, we're just going to hear from Ms. Gina Toppins, our treasurer, with the financial report for this month.
You received a preliminary financial report in September that's been finalized, and the August ending balance was $4,064.88, and the September ending balance was $4,064.88. The October statement, the ending balance for October is $3,961.26. The expenditure was due to a replacement check that was in the ledger, but was never cashed. Check number 114 in the amount of $103.82 was for Zoom related expenses. that took place on February 25th of 2021. What I did was I did a thorough audit of all the financial records and found that that check was missing. We looked at the corresponding secretary, myself, we looked at all the records from 2020 to 2023. We determined that that check was never cashed, even though the ledger said it was. So the expenditure to replace means that we replace check number 114 with 120 and the amount of $103.62.
All right, thank you so much, Gina. And were there any questions for Gina before we move forward to the next item line on the agenda? Either online or in person? No. All right, Gina, we'll move forward to the Committee joining us via Zoom. And the floor is yours, Lieutenant. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So I'm gonna try to keep pretty brief for this last month. Really good month for crime in Fairhaven. A couple of incidents that I just wanted to touch upon. So I'll give you some general stats. In the last month, we've only had 4 burglaries in Fairhaven. One was two were vacant buildings, and one was Bear's Smokehouse. There's some in all 3 incidents, 3 out of the 4. There's very good video. I'm pretty confident we'll be making arrests on all of those. And so for any district, 4 burglaries in a month is very good. But for what we've seen in Fairhaven, for some of the numbers I've seen, that's a really good month for us. Additionally, with motor vehicle theft, we stay pretty constant. We've had 4, 8, 12, 15 motor vehicle thefts. Like I always mention, honestly, the trend is the same. We just had a CompStat report today, and across the city, the trend is generally the same. People are opening up car doors that are unlocked from any vehicle really that's unlocked, and taking small value items from those locations. We saw an increase of that over 2 weeks ago, but it has since subsided. There was an uptick. Officers were out on the overnight in some of those areas. They were able to reduce some of that activity. We arrested 1 or 2 individuals that we think might be responsible for those larceny from motor vehicle. The other trend that we're seeing is when it seems like I know there's been an update to Kias and Hyundais, and so there's been some updates to software that doesn't make it possible to steal the vehicles the same way it was before. And so what we're seeing, unfortunately, is that there are generally juveniles trying to still steal those vehicles, and they're breaking windows in those cars and then attempting to steal them, doing some damage to the ignition, but still unable to steal those vehicles. And so those are generally the trends. Any incidents where vehicles have been stolen, they continue to be Kias and Hyundais. I would recommend that everyone keeps their cars locked. And then also in the winter months, as things start getting cooler, we always see a spike in people warming up their cars and people stealing the cars while they're trying to warm them up. So I understand that it might be convenient, but I'd recommend that if you start your car, make sure that the vehicle is locked and there is no way to move that vehicle without the key fob. And then also, if you're running into a location quickly, whether it be a store, a school, whatever the case may be, just make sure you lock your vehicle. If you can turn your car off and lock it, I'd recommend that as well. We see that spike generally around this time of year. And then additionally, with some of our statistics, let me just pull up the sheet here. 2 robberies in the month. Both of those were street robberies, disagreements around certain items. And so those are of relatively low concern for us. They don't meet any trends or patterns around the district. And 2 in an entire month is a very, very good month for Fairhaven. There were 7 incidents of shots fired this month. That's a little bit of an increase. We went from 0 last week to 0 2 weeks ago to 3 the week before. And so one of the incidents was on Clinton Avenue. One vehicle was chasing another vehicle just after 10:30 at night. I received some reports from individuals in the community that shared some concerns that they thought they heard gunfire. They did. ShotSpotter alerted officers arrived. I'm pretty confident that we'll have an arrest with that. Our shooting task force adopted that case, and so their detectives and officers in that unit are investigating it. As you know from me talking about them quite frequently, generally when they get a case across their desk, it ends in an arrest of someone who's generally perpetrating violent crimes around the entire city, not just Fairhaven. And so that seems to be the trend with this particular incident as well. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to make an arrest on that in the near future. And then another incident of concern was an incident of gunfire earlier in the month at Poplar and Wolcott. There was 3 armed individuals. They all looked to me to be under the age of 20. From the videos that I've seen, and they basically one group, 2 guys are in a dispute with 2 other guys, and there's a few of them, 2 of them pull firearms. The third one starts shooting as well, and so it was broad daylight, 3:30 in the afternoon. Officers responded quickly. We have some leads on that. So if anyone has any additional information on those particular incidents, please feel free to send it my way. We're still looking at a couple of things with that one. Additionally, officers have supported the trunk or treats and various Halloween activities around. There were a lot of events around the city that there were a ton of police officers at a lot of these events, including one where a couple of officers and I were able to walk some of the students from Centro San Jose's preschool from Grandin Blatchley to the Mary Wade home, where they were welcomed with a very lively group of the residents there that were happy to welcome them. And so a couple of our new officers were able to see kind of community policing firsthand. We're on that in that same regard. We have a number of officers who are getting off of field training and moving to the district. We picked up 2 new officers, Officer Toussaint, Francie Toussaint. My goal would be to bring him to the next meeting. He's got a lot of stuff going on, being a brand new officer in Fairhaven, assigned to the day shift. So him and then Officer Bright, both of them are on the day shift. You'll see them in Fairhaven out and about. My goal would be to bring them to the next meeting. I think that's about all I have, unless anybody has any questions or anything that I can address.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant. We do have a question here in the room.
Hi, Lieutenant, good evening. My question is, the other night we had, well, we've been having a lot of cars being dropped off on Clinton Avenue in the area. And also the other night, my friend lives on English Street where they had the shooting the other night. They dropped off a vehicle there about a week ago. So he asked me to call dispatch and see what we could do about it. See who owns, because nobody in the area owns it, but they're dropping these cars. So I called dispatch the other night and I talked to dispatch, and when I told her about the situation, she told me, why didn't I have my friend call? What is dispatch doing over there? Why would I have to have my friend call? I'm an elected official. If my friend is calling me to report something, that's my job to go to the dispatch and report what this fella is telling me. Why would I have to hear from a dispatch, have my friend call? I don't get it. What's going on there? You know anything about this?
So in previous meetings, Robbie, thank you for the comment question. We've been working with our dispatch center. We've talked about police staffing and some of the issues around that. It's not as widely publicized, but the dispatch center suffers from the same issues that we see. A lot of city agencies in New Haven, a lot of our government agencies, people can go other places and make more money and do less work. And so unfortunately what happens is the communications division has those same issues where people come in, they get trained, and then they move on to other locations. And so largely we're dealing with a group of people that are still working to figure out some of the things in New Haven. And so I can't speak to their specific incident, but I know that Director Vitale has been very open. I know there's people in the room and people on Zoom that have made complaints about the communications division when they call the non-emergency number, which is really should be the #1 way to get in touch with the police. And so he's really receptive to those complaints and issues. They'll review tape and they'll get back to citizens. And so I would encourage you to do that, Robbie. I'll text you his information so that you can bring that to him if you want to. I think it's a good idea, to be honest.
The other question was that the officers did come there and they did check out the vehicle. And it was a misuse of plates. They red tagged it. And now they red tagged it, and the day after, the individual, I guess, picked up the car and they brought it to another location. So what happens if they pick this car, that was a misuse of plate. If they pick this car up and they drove it and they killed somebody with that vehicle, shouldn't that vehicle have been towed off the street?
So it depends on the situation. I would say most likely it should have been towed. However, there could be something that the officers were giving somebody a break. We do that quite frequently. And so for years, we generally don't, we try to avoid towing people's cars. We understand there's working people in the neighborhood who are trying to make ends meet. And so we're not about overtly enforcing the law when we can work with community members to resolve some of that. And so I'm not sure about that. I'd have to look into it. That would be my only guess. The emphasis is on, again, like the city doesn't want us just blanketly towing cars and being involved in that kind of stuff if there's no real issue with the vehicle, if people aren't pointing out a specific issue. I understand the misuse of marker plate, and so I'd have to look at that specific incident.
Thank
There was
you.
another question on the side. It says that Jen Forlano asked Grandin Ferry bus stop. There's a group of men every day and night, either drinking at the bus stop, sleeping, or on the ground passed out. Can they be ticketed for loitering? It needs to be cleaned up. Jen, I completely agree with you that it needs to be cleaned up. I was actually chatting with Eddie on the side here from Fairhaven Community Health Center. I would like to try to offer those gentlemen some sort of services, to be honest. There's the same group. It's roughly 15 to 20 males that have been there for years. One officer, we do give them tickets from time to time, which is interesting because one of the officers a couple of weeks ago texted me a person's name, said he gave a ticket to that person. I looked up that person and they were given a ticket for public drinking 10 years ago in the exact same location. And so to me, that shows that to a degree, tickets are effective at times. And I totally understand that that's an issue that we need to deal with. But I would love some community support or help to try to work with some of these older gentlemen who honestly are suffering from alcoholism. There's some issues there that I would love to have a community approach to dealing with that rather than just giving these men a bunch of tickets for hanging out. I think there's a better solution to that other than just, giving out tickets. That may ultimately come to fruition, that's the only solution we have, but I'm pretty confident that we have other solutions out there that don't result in tickets and arresting people who are suffering from alcoholism.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant. And we have one question here in the room or comment.
It's an observation. There is an individual living under the underpass, right at State Street on Lombard. I'm not sure if it's Humphrey or Lombard at that place where the murals are under 91 murals. There's an individual sleeping under there.
Yeah, so we generally, most of the individuals who are unhoused in Fairhaven, we plug them in with Compass. I appreciate Billy bringing that up in the chat here too. He asked if Elm City Compass connected with these gentlemen. I'm not sure specifically if Elm City Compass has checked in with the individuals at Grandin Ferry, but I will chat with them and see if they have had those conversations. If not, engage them as well. And then the same thing goes for the person underneath the underpass on Humphrey Street. Most of the time, any of the unhoused individuals, either I go out myself and talk to them, or I have Compass or the homeless outreach team through the city go out and interact with them and try to engage them. And that's generally how we handle business. And so was there anything specific about that person under the bridge that was concerning?
There is in fact a person there most nights who needs to be approached.
Okay. We can definitely have a conversation with that individual and see if we can get them into some sort of housing or services.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
And then Marianne had her hand up too.
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna ask about that online.
Hi, I've been making phone calls for the election and I've come across several people. All the people I'm calling live in Fairhaven. And people are pretty upset about the bodega at the corner of Peck and Ferry Street, saying that the drug stuff is still going on, people hanging out at the corner. And they're like, when is this going to be dealt with? Why can't we shut that down? And people are really at their wits' end about it.
Yeah, I would, Marianne, great question or comment. I'm also at my wits' end with it. We don't have any legislation to shut that store down. And so we need some sort of law legislation to allow us to shut problem businesses like that down. Currently, the city doesn't have a mechanism for that. And so as we've talked about pretty at length in a number of these meetings, we do our enforcement piece. We arrest people with guns, selling narcotics, selling fentanyl, selling drugs in those areas. And unfortunately, because the environment is allowed to persist, the next group kind of just comes and sets up shop in that area. I've noticed that at Grand and Lloyd a couple of summers ago, I reported on some violence that was in that area, and we dealt with a few individuals in a group that was out there selling narcotics. Those individuals have since cycled out of incarceration, and they're back out selling narcotics again at Grand and Lloyd, and we'll have to do the same thing again. Unfortunately, I don't really have a good solution, to be honest, for the corner store at Ferry and Peck. I think that there's probably some sort of legislation that we could pass, but right now we'll just stick with our usual. Last meeting I reported on kind of some of the inspections that we've done. And so that store is on the list to be inspected. I just have to get the state to come down and do that probably around once a month or so. I would say we're doing that in Fairhaven generally. So we're still working on it. I just don't really have a good solution to shut down the store for any significant period of time.
So we can't shut it down like we shut the club down over on Grand Avenue?
That's a great question, Marianne. So we were able to shut the club down on Grand Avenue because of the liquor permit. And so
Okay.
there was a mechanism with the Liquor Commission to for the community to voice its concern with the organization or the property. There is no mechanism set in place to be able to do that. I know there's some elected officials who are attempting to do some research and look into if that's possible to do with tobacco as well. And so that may be forthcoming. I'm not sure how that process looks.
Okay.
Just have one. Lieutenant, this is Darlene. So, if you can't shut them down, I understand, is there a way to fine or arrest them if drugs are being dealt and used in public? That might deter, if the owner is fined consistently, the way you've done with the noise issue on Back Street. Anything like that can be done?
Sorry, Darlene, it was just hard to hear in the middle part there. You're asking if we can find them?
If you can't shut them down, I understand. Is it possible to fine or the way you've done with the noise issue on Peck Street? Because I realize the other is probably impossible, but something.
So as far as I'm aware, there's no statutes out there that we'd be able to enforce. So it's not, there's investigation that's done if people are selling narcotics. And so in my experience, people are using the store as a location to sell narcotics. The store itself is not selling narcotics. They sell drug paraphernalia. It's not billed as drug paraphernalia, but it's behind the counter. If you look at the stuff that they're selling, it is only used to consume drugs. And so that's that I think in of itself is a different issue, but there's no mechanism for us. We can bring the health department in there. We can bring the fire marshal. We can bring building, LCI. And so, but at a certain point, if they're within compliance with all of those things, there's not much else that there's just no mechanism to enforce a law that is broken with the city or the state, if that makes sense.
Okay. It's just
If there were, I would gladly do it. One of the things that we're working on is working with zoning to try to, a lot of these places are out of compliance with zoning. And so there's a couple of mechanisms down the road that are a little bit more complex to get into for this meeting. But there are some ideas that we're working on. But I think like some sort of legislation around governing these particular properties would be something that would be very helpful for us, the police department and the city, to deal with some of these problem locations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Lieutenant. And what we'll do is put your contact information in the chat as well, email, phone number, and it is also on the agenda for those of you here in person. If you need to reach out to him about something a little bit more specific. And as always, thank you so much for everything that you do, you and all of the fellow officers in our neighborhood and in the city. And we'll see you hopefully in person next month with the new officers.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to acknowledge here in the chat that Dee Dean did make mention that an organization called DESK has a drop-in center at 266 State Street, where those who need housing can have some place to stay and get refreshments, snacks, etc. So thank you for putting that information there for us. And moving on to our next agenda, we have item on the agenda. We have Miss Carmen Mendez with LCI, and get you up here, Carmen, and go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Good evening to everyone. I hope you're all staying warm in this cold weather. I had reported to you last month that I was continuing my house-by-house inspections with the housing code officers of this office, my colleagues. And I have the new streets that I have visited has been James Street from beginning to end, Haven Street from beginning to end. We are doing Blatchley Street next week, and hopefully all of Poplar. I don't know if anyone in the room comes from those areas, but I know that I've gotten several calls when people have been very upset about the notices. I do want you to know that I work with people. I do not bully people. I do not hit them over the head with canes. I don't do that. If you get a letter, please call me. I will work with you. There are ways to fix everything. And do not get nervous, because it's me, and as I said, I will work with you. So we will continue our house to house. I think we've done about 250 houses so far, which is a lot. But we'll continue to do it throughout the winter and see how far we get. And that's all. That's my report.
Thank you so much for the update. Before we move forward, any questions, comments for, go ahead.
Hi, Carmen, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
My concern is the absentee landlords. I know month to month, it seems like we send someone there, they address the problem, they call that landlord, they fix the problem, then we gotta call them back again next month. What can we do so we don't have to keep going through this? What can we do to make them responsible for their property without have to do this every month?
Yeah, I've encountered in the parts that I've been doing enforcement, I've encountered that with several LLCs. And what we do, since they don't call anyway, because they don't seem to care, is we give them a citation and leave it on their property. We leave their property, and that's at $100 a day. That quickly adds up. We get people calling us. There are people who owe us $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 because they've never addressed the issues. We have, last year, I myself brought in $150,000 from people who do not, because they don't call. They don't call. They don't say, listen, I want to work with you. What can I do here? We would discuss a plan. We would have, a hearing with the third party if necessary. They don't call. They don't listen. Tenants will complain. We go out each and every time it's a new inspection. And if the issues aren't in terms of the housing code, if the issue isn't fixed by the second letter, then there's a warrant for your arrest. So that we've used as well. And through my end, it's a civil citation, which is $100 a day. And it can get very, very, very expensive. But I think, it's really with the LLCs. And we have a lot of LLCs in Fairhaven. I've discovered, I've done my research. I don't have a significant number of houses yet, but I plan on breaking out maybe some you know, what do you call those, statistics. In terms of how many LLCs there are in Fairhaven, how many are homeowner occupied, stuff like that. At some point, but right now I don't have a critical mass.
Connor, one more question. When you're driving around and you see this mechanic stuff being done, do you stop or do you wait for someone to complain?
Okay, I am not a zoning officer. That's a zoning officer's responsibility. I report it. And we're having a problem with our zoning department right now. There's just not enough people. But it is reported. I do say it, you know, I'm pretty loud about that, but I can't myself do anything about that.
Okay.
And I did see a comment online from Jaywan Carter and someone raising their hand online that we can maybe get back quickly to the room. So Jaywan mentions that there's a house at the corner of Poplar and Chapel, boarded and is foreclosed. However, it is being used as a dumping site.
Okay, would that happen to be, it's a boarded house. Would that happen to be a tan house or a yellow house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, that will be addressed next week. I saw that, I have seen that, yes. And we will get to the landlord for that.
Thank you. And Alder Cupo, sorry, also put in some information that people can use to contact if they're having issues with absentee landlords, unsafe living conditions, to contact the Fair Rent Commission, and she has the link there in the chat. And we can get that also dispersed out to everybody here in the room. I do see a question online from Paul or comment.
Hello, can you hear me?
You're a little choppy, Paul, but I can
Okay.
hear you loud enough.
Oh, okay. The question, or I have two questions. One is I keep submitting C-Click Fix requisitions for graffiti problems, and I put the address of the building and the owner name if I can find it, and they keep going around the system, and it says it's supposed to go to LCI, but when it goes to LCI, it gets canceled. So I don't know why that happens, but there is a serious graffiti problem around Fairhaven. Particularly, I've reported a couple times the building right next to the bridge on Ferry Street going over towards Farron Avenue. There's a couple like industrial buildings there that are just covered in graffiti, and all around Fairhaven, there's been a problem. So I'm just wondering why were the C-Click Fix requisitions canceled? Any idea?
I don't know why they were canceled. I know that I have printed out all the graffiti complaints. And in fact, I was talking to Eric from the Grand Avenue Merchants Association today, because we are going to be writing notices of violation. Actually, he wants me just to visit them first. And then if they don't comply, write them a notice of violation. And then if they don't comply, a citation. So it will be addressed. I don't know if they're canceled or not, but I know that I have copies of every single graffiti complaint. The city used to have a graffiti program. The city used to set aside $30,000. It would go. It goes so fast. We can't keep up with the graffiti. We no longer have that program. We no longer have that kind of money. And all we were doing when we started to paint, we used to power wash. Then we started to paint because it depends on the surface. Then we decided to paint, and no sooner did we paint, and the next day there was graffiti again. It's like you're providing a fresh canvas for these graffiti taggers. They're taggers. They're not artists. They're taggers, and it's been problematic. It's very hard to control, and people get very frustrated. For example, there was one complaint about 4 or 5 times that I read on River Street. I'm not gonna mention the property. But
That is the one.
that is the one?
Right on the corner of River and Ferry.
Yes.
Right at the bridge. The building is covered in graffiti, and it's been 2 years and they've done nothing. And I put in numerous requests for that property and a number of other properties. And I'm telling you, it goes to LCI, and then somebody in LCI cancels my click fix request. So I don't know why, it says it's been forwarded to LCI, but then LCI, cancels it. So I just want to make sure they're being handled by LCI and not just being deleted off the system.
No, I don't think so, because I would have to close an issue. If I haven't done something about an issue, I do not close it. That's not.
Carmen, we have elections tonight. In the interest of time, can you?
Sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Sure that you guys connect and you can keep dealing with this, because it's an important issue, but we just got to keep moving. Thank
I
you.
just put your contact info in the chat.
I did.
All right, thank you so much, Carmen. We do appreciate everything you do for our, Fairhaven. All right, excuse me. Moving on, we have Jaywan Carter joining us via Zoom. He gives a quarterly presentation for the Civilian Review Board. And let me go ahead and ping it really quick. Give me 1 second. And the floor is yours. Go ahead, Jaywan.
Good evening, everyone. I just attached a couple of documents to the chat here, and I also sent the documents to the email list, if not yesterday, the day before. So what I would like to say is that I mentioned, I believe in September, that we are reviewing some of the policy changes for the CRB, and that meeting was actually postponed until the end of this month. It's a chance it's going to be on the 15th or the 16th, and you are able to see in the one-page document is more of a summary of the things that we're requesting to be changed, and then you'll see a lengthy attachment in which you will see things that are in red, which are the modifications we're looking for, and we would like to have support on it because it just gives the CRB more teeth to what it has. It gives us more detail to look at certain cases in an appropriate manner to get cases moving along quicker than what the pace has been. And other than that, CRB itself, we're just reviewing cases on a monthly basis, and we're making progress. So I don't have much of a lengthy presentation, but that's all I can bring to the table at the moment. And I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much for the update. Any questions for Jaywan, either in person or online? Don't see anything here in the room. Do you see anything online at all, Adam?
I see no hands, no.
Okay.
Elder Cupo just says thanks. And it's coming before the legislation committee on November 15th. And she welcomes you to join.
All right, thank you so much, Jaywan, as always, and have a great evening. Thank you for all that you do with the Civilian Review Board.
Thank you. Everyone have a blessed night.
You too. All right, and moving on with economic development updates. Sometimes we have Ms. Kathleen Krolak online.
He's here, yep.
Hi,
Okay.
I won't take up a lot of time. The two updates really just ongoing. That's the monies for neighborhood improvement through ARPA funds. The interviews took place with each neighborhood, including, of course, Fairhaven, Grand Avenue in particular. That feedback gets put back into the Main Street program, and then the program should roll out in the next few months. And again, it's neighborhood improvements as per what the neighborhood wants to see. And the other just minor outdoor seating permits like that Salsa has, those end November 30th. Restaurants can extend it. They've already received notice about this. If you have an outdoor seating permit currently, they can extend it unless they're on a snow route, but they have to just apply again. So you may see these out throughout the winter and perhaps not. I don't know if anyone has any questions for me.
Thank you. Any questions either in the room or online? I don't see anything here in the room. Is there anything online that I'm not catching? I don't see any comments in the chat.
We got hand raised from Paul.
Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, just curious, why did they extend it during the winter when nobody really will be eating outside in the cold weather? It just takes up parking spaces and you know, poses a hazard. So, you know, I'm just curious, like, why it was extended.
There were restaurants that requested that they be permitted to keep it out all year. And there's one kind of heater that they're permitted to have as well. And on Audubon Street, coffee, they kept theirs out all winter, and you saw people out there having hot beverages under a heater. But it's not a lot. There was maybe I think there was 4 or 5 total throughout the city that kept it out all year.
Thank you. Thank you for that question, and thank you for addressing that. Any other questions, either online or here in the library? Okay, seeing none here in the library. Is there anything else online? Thank you so much for checking in with us, Ms. Fuller. And have a great night. Moving on with our vision in action. Under responsive, transparent government, economic and community development, we're going to start off with Richard Kane and Maria Cruz Kane from Site Project to talk about the mural proposal on Grand and Ferry.
Can't go to there, go see. That's stand in that corner, that way you can face people. Right. There you go. Right there, remember right there? Right there, sure, yeah. Right there, right there. Perfect. Yep, right there.
Like that chair. Speak for some microphones right here. Oh, good.
Good evening and welcome.
We just need.
And I talk here or I talk here?
Yeah.
You can talk to them, it'll pick up. So I'm here to tell you about a project that Site Projects is very excited to present to you. We've been working on it for over 1.5 years. And before I give you the exact images of it, let me say, I hope that you know who we are and that you've been to see this Born to Explore room in Fairhaven at the corner of Haven and Exchange, which was painted. It's the first artist. So Site Projects has been doing public art for 19 years. Next year will be our 20th year. And this is the first time we've commissioned a street artist. He came from Malaysia. He's a very talented painter. And we asked him to paint that building with the characters. Are you looking at your watch, Lee?
Yep.
Oh, no. We asked him to paint it with the characters, the animals and the plants of the Mill River Trail, the Mill River. And we think that it's going to bring a lot of people along that trail. The other thing I want to mention to you is that as a lead into what we have planned for Fairhaven is this mural on Lower Crown Street. It's called For William Lanson, and it was painted by an Uruguayan painter named David Delamano. So I don't know if all of you are familiar with William Lanson, but I have a couple of templates here that our group created. There was a time in the early 20th century, first half, when people of color were able to work and able to earn money, and they were very entrepreneurial, and then it all changed around 1850. But because we're very interested in that, and we're interested in that history as it moves to Fairhaven, then we wanted to paint a mural of Fairhaven in that kind of 1850, 1860 timeframe. So this is the proposal for the mural. there'll be a much bigger print of it. It shows the horse-drawn trolley. It shows oystering. It shows a replica of a very important historic building. It shows a person of the indigenous tribe standing, and it is not intended to be a picture of a place. It's intended to be about a place. So this man, indigenous person, is looking back through history, through this wall, and he's seeing all of these people who are in the oystering business. He's seeing a copy of the 2 minutes, a copy of the Sharpie boat, which was created, invented here in Fairhaven when Fairhaven was the capital of oystering in all of this region. And then that boat was copied in all other places, a very shallow bottom boat, so people could stand on the bottom or take these big wooden sticks and pull the oysters up. And so we got excited about this, and we started to ask the artist. We gave him history of Fairhaven information, and we asked him to put in here things so people might go back and look for them. So we call them little secrets that are going to be in this mural. So hopefully libraries and teachers will take kids to look for things that are in here, such as the fact that there were holes put into the bottom of the harbor in places, and those marked where someone's oystering land was, their claim. And there is hidden in here somewhere is just a big rock, and that represents the John Davenport rock from 1637, which was put in. It is sometimes underwater and sometimes you can find it, and it's over on the Fairhaven Heights sort of side of the Quinnipiac River, and it would mark where a surveyor would put a stake to look for to look for the edge of John Davenport's property. Anyway,
Couple of questions and then
any questions?
What was the name, how do you spell the name of that, your organization?
My organization,
Did you say site?
Site Projects.
How do you spell that?
SITE.
Oh, site.
Site Projects. Gosh, it's just so heartbreaking that you guys don't know who we are. We try to be a secret.
Yeah, pass the pictures around.
Yes.
Yeah, and then while you're passing, we did have a couple questions. One, are you looking for community input? And two, how would you go about contacting you if we want to volunteer to add our painting hands or ideas or anything like that?
We feel like we've researched this. This is about the third iteration. We presented the first version to an alder in Fairhaven and found out that Fairhaven does not appreciate the history that is in densely industrial, as that represents to many people the history of polluting the land. So we went back earlier than that. So that's the reason there is a horse-drawn trolley, and it's on private property, and it will be, we think, when that intersection of Ferry and Grand is improved and updated. This mural will be a really wonderful part of that entire intersection.
And this is on the southwest corner, correct? The building on the southwest corner?
Where the rendezvous used to be, so when you walk out of Food Save, when you walk out, you're looking right at it across the parking lots.
Yes.
Okay, we need to move on.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciate it. So moving on to our next group, we have online joining us via Zoom. Miss Eliza Halsey with Miss Brooke Logan and Miss Taylor Show. Let me Can you quickly tell us if you're looking for just a moment while I do so?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me all right? My name's Eliza Halsey. I am the new Community Services Administrator for the City of New Haven. So couple weeks in, 8 weeks in, and you may know Dr. Dalal, my predecessor, but Community Services Administration includes the Health Department, Elderly Services, Youth and Recreation, the Community Resilience Department, and as of July 1, the libraries. So I just wanted to come out today to say hello, introduce myself really briefly, and actually give a team from the Health Department an opportunity to share a little bit. I know at your last meeting, my colleague Velma George from the Office of Housing and Homelessness Services was at your meeting, and we're eager to partner with all of you. We'll have folks from our team. We're happy to respond to things that come up, and we'll try to join your meetings whenever we can. So I know I see many familiar faces and a number of new ones, but look forward to working with all of you, and I'll pass it on to Taylor and Brooke.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Taylor. I have a quick presentation that I can share. Please let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yep, I can see it.
Awesome, thank you. So hi everyone, my name is Taylor Choi. I'm an epidemiologist at the New Haven Health Department. And today I'm just going to go over some overdose data as well as respiratory illnesses. So to begin, right now we're currently tracking fatal overdoses that are occurring in New Haven. And so to kind of give you a little idea of what's happening from last year in 2022, we see that we have a total of 148 overdoses broken down by months in 2022, and then for ODs by month that are occurring in New Haven, this is 108 so far from January to August. And to give you a little perspective, I also did a quick calculation on how many ODs were in 2022 from January to August, and that was 99. So we do see an increase in overdoses in New Haven. And so this isn't only New Haven residents. These could be people from various different towns where their home address or their mailing address is. But these are the overdoses that are occurring in New Haven that are fatal. And if we look at our fatal overdoses that are New Haven residents, we see that in 2022, we had a total of 127 with a breakdown by month again. And for our current year in 2023, we have 78 currently. And to give you that same perspective, in 2022, we had 85 from January to August. So we're doing a little bit better on the metrics, but I also want you to remember that as I'm presenting some of this data, that overdoses are very hard to track as data points. Fatal overdoses are they're you can kind of get a very clear picture, but it's also it depends on how many people are reporting and different things like that. And so I just want you to have that disclaimer as we look at more data to continue where we see suspected drug emergency department visits. So these are we see that there is a decrease from about 100 to about 80 visits. However, this is hard to really tell if this is, are we having less people use drugs, or are people being equipped with more Narcan so they don't need to go to the emergency department? Different things like this are, it's not captured in the data. So it's something to kind of take and think about when we're looking at this data and we see, if we're seeing less emergency department visits, what really are the factors that are contributing to this as well. And so overdoses, to talk about, kind of overdose prevention, the health department recently received a 5-year CDC grant that's focused on overdose prevention. It's really going to be focusing on, we're going to be hiring 3 overdose prevention navigators, which will be focusing on linking people who use drugs to treatment and social services. They'll be conducting naloxone trainings and outreach in the community. And if you know anybody that's interested in applying, the position is posted on the city website. And our timeline is that we hope to have people hired and out in the community this winter to really be conducting this prevention work. And our project manager, Andressa Granado, can, there's a typo, I'm very sorry. She can attend any upcoming meetings. So next month, if there's interest to talk more about the initiative. And if you have any questions, comments, anything that you would like answered, you can also email her. I have her email provided as well, and I can provide it at the end. And so I just want to kind of touch on really quick, as we're moving into the colder months, we have a lot of respiratory illnesses in 2023 that we want to kind of keep a lookout for. So obviously we have COVID, RSV, and flu. I've included the symptoms as well as the CDC pages, and you can also scan the QR codes to kind of get more information. But really, we want to promote getting vaccinated, especially for flu and COVID shots, and just if you're not feeling well, to definitely mask for so that we're trying to mitigate the spread of just any sort of infection or bacteria that can be going around. And in addition, I just wanted to just go over some quick numbers. This is just all of the state of the United States.
Have the presentation kind of wrap up because we're over time.
Or no problem. We can. So I'll get to the meat of it. The New Haven Health Department has a free clinic where you can get your flu and COVID vaccines. We're open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Thursdays and Fridays from 2 to 5. And you can just walk in to come and get your flu and COVID vaccines. As well as we have an STI clinic where you can walk in the same on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 9 to 5 and get tested. And if you don't have insurance, it's just a $20 copay. So definitely want to promote anything like that as well. And thank you for your time. And here's my information, and I'll provide it as well in the chat.
Thank you so much, Taylor. We really do appreciate it. Okay, and moving forward, we have.
I think we have one question in the chat from Dave Weinreb. It says, is Department of Health widely publicly distributing vaccines? As in, are there clinics you're hosting?
Yes, so we are currently hosting, I know that there is one open to the public at Albertus Magnus on the 7th, and I can get you the times. And all you have to do is bring your insurance information. And if you're not insured, I think there is a $20 copay, but I can firm up on that information and send it out to be distributed as well.
All right, thank you so much, Taylor. And thank you for the question. And Carmen is here joining us in person to give a quick update on the response board.
Yes, and I've joined online so that I can share my screen. So I know today's election night, so I'm going to be quick because I know he's going to cut me off, but I wanted to provide an update to the community management team now that we're kind of through zoning, what's happening next, but also just, I guess, remind everyone as to what our goals here are and what the current renderings that I don't think I've shown to the community management team, but folks who have joined the zoning meetings have probably seen it. So this is a rendering of, on the left is where the historic building is, and the kind of dark brick is a new, the what we call the connector, and the, I guess the entrances for residents will be where you see strong apartments underneath a mural that this is just a placeholder. And as we get closer, this is a place where we'll definitely look forward to getting community input as to what sort of image there would be welcomed and desired. So most residents will enter the building through this entrance, and there will be elevators right there that will make both the historic school and the new construction addition accessible. And most the management office will be just to the right of the entrance, and there will be some amenity space, but most of this will be residential units.
A real quick question, what street is the main entrance on?
So it's on this side. So if this is the Grand Avenue Street.
And
This is Perkins Street.
So it's going over Perkins Street and then where the community garden is?
Yeah, that the community garden is right here.
I told you.
So Perkins Street, it's Perkins Street.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And this is a rendering for it from Grand Avenue. You'll see that this is a spruced up version of what you see on the street right now. The art that we're showing here at this corner is just a placeholder. We don't know what we would place there yet, but our goal is to incorporate as many opportunities to have art on the exterior through landscaping or on the building. I just wanted to show this. We're kind of continuing to develop the building plans, and our architects will start coming to the site. We're gonna kind of open some ceilings and open some floors just to get to know the building structure better. But I just wanted to point out that we're gonna try to make the community entrance to the former auditorium on Grand Avenue. We're gonna make it accessible by adding some sloped walkways. This, if you can see my cursor, is where like the community would enter this space when there are events. And we're going to be adding a lift to make it the stage accessible. And we're continuing to further refine it. You'll see that we're starting to put together floor plans for the units. And we're planning to have bathrooms for this community space also. So it's all work in progress, but I wanted to show a preview for everyone. And just a reminder that it's 58 units, all of them will be affordable, a mix of studios, 1 to 2 bedrooms. I've put kind of the sample rents here, but this is set by HUD every year. So this is what it is this year, but it'll change every year. But the income range will be from 30% AMI to 80% AMI, which means that the income range is generally going to be between 23,000 to 95,000 is what it is this year. So that's it changes every year, but not drastically. That's the sense of like the population that will be income eligible for these units. So key milestones for next steps. While our design team is progressing, it is now my job to make sure I get all of these layers of financing that help support a project like this, because it is 100% affordable, and that means the rents are capped. That means that we need a lot of different subsidies to make this happen. The first key one for a project like this is historic tax credits, because this will be rehabilitated according to state and federal guidelines. We've started having conversations with the Connecticut Historic Preservation Office, and hopefully we will get approval from them in March for our proposed plans. We're gonna get brownfield funding because there's asbestos and lead inside this building. So to make it safe for future residents, we need to abate all of that. And then we're gonna be getting from the Housing Finance Agency and Department of Housing tax credits, which typically is how these projects are funded throughout the nation, as well as the typical Department of Housing funding. And then the last piece is the City of New Haven has home funding that usually is the last gap source funding. So this is all kind of spring, summer of next year with the goal to get to plans that are ready to submit to the building department at the end of next year, and then start construction early 2025. So this is kind of the key drivers of what dictates how quickly we move. And this whole time we'll also be starting to understand the building better, and doing more diligence on the building.
That'd be great if you could just open up the questions.
Yeah, next slide.
Okay, any questions either here in the room?
So,
go ahead.
So you're going to go over Perkins Street with your building? Like a walkway thingy?
It's not gonna be over Perkins Street. It's gonna be, the connector is between the old building and the new building, but it's all in the
In that
property line.
one block,
Yes,
so it's contained within the block
That's right.
of.
Clinton and Perkins.
that's right.
These are questions that can be addressed,
Okay.
because we just need to keep it, but no problem with answering them, it's just like.
I
afterward
got my
conversation.
answer.
Any other questions?
I saw something in the chat.
Sally
really-
had one as well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hi,
Carmen. It's Sally Esposito from the Commission on Disabilities. I'm glad you're here and thanks for the update. I just wanted to say that we appreciate the work that you've incorporated based on our conversations in the past. Thanks again.
and I just saw one question here in the chat.
What about parking on Perkins Street? Is it going to be zoning towards the end? Because people usually park for the clinic on Grand Ave.
It's gonna be zone residential, I mean, that's in process, but it's something that we do, it's not something that, if I understand correctly, the neighborhood, and we're working with people on Perkins Street. to make that happen.
Okay. That was the question.
Okay. All right, so,
Yeah, to the park or whatever.
if there are any additional questions, concerns, you can certainly reach out to Carmen and we can get her contact information there as well for everyone to reach out to her, whoever needs to. Moving forward under our category of environment and immigration, we don't have anyone here tonight. Under health, housing, and public safety, we do have Ms. Kayla Cruz with the Women and Family Center of New Haven. She is joining via Zoom. And I will bring her up right now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for letting us join in and talk. This is my first time coming to the Fairhaven community meeting. I have a short, brief presentation outlining what the Women and Family Center does and how we help the community. So we are a sexual assault crisis service. So we serve victims in New Haven and 28 surrounding towns. We offer a 24-hour hotline in English and Spanish, so people can call at any time if they have any questions or just want to talk to someone. We have one-on-one counseling, support groups. We accompany victims to the police station when they want to make a police report and guide them through the legal process of all that. And then we're also referring them out to different resources in the community. We're also kind of like case managers, so that's why we want to stay connected with all of you guys who work in the community and where we can go and do outreach or collaborate on different things. We offer prevention education in the public school system, and we partner closely with colleges and different local agencies. This is just a map of the towns we serve. We're all the way from New Haven, Old Saybrook, up to Meriden and Middletown. Our New Haven office is located on 142 Temple Street, right in downtown. And we have an office in Meriden and counseling spaces in Middletown and Guilford. So in addition to the services that I mentioned before, we also accompany victims to the hospital when they need to do a forensic exam. We have bilingual advocates, I'm one of them. We have male counselors, LGBTQ advocates, and a college advocate as well. And we also help with paperwork through the Office of Victim Services and help with the court system when a case does arrive to the court. For education and prevention services, we offer a state-mandated sexual assault training and certification course. So if anyone is interested in volunteering for our hotline, you're more than welcome to do so. It's a 40-hour training and you'd be qualified to work on a 24-hour hotline. We also offer trainings to local police departments, fire departments, emergency room staff. We've been partnering with health departments and other local agencies to offer training and awareness of sexual assault and how to respond to disclosures in a trauma-informed way. So again, if you'd like to volunteer for our hotline, you can reach out to me. I'll have my information at the end and I'll connect you to our volunteer coordinator. And my coworker, Ana Laura Gonzalez, is also here with support. If you have any questions, there's my information. I know we're
Thank-
kind of short on time, and yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kayla. So any questions either online or here in the room? I don't see anything here in the room. You see anything online?
No, I just encourage you to put your contact info and maybe the hotline numbers into the chat so that we can have that for everybody.
Yes, and Dean, I can drop off some cards to the location.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You have a great night, Kayla. Okay, so moving on lastly to arts, culture, and library, we have Kurt Morrison joining us in his office via Zoom. Go ahead, Kurt.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to everyone who's here and those who are online. Hopefully we will see you soon. On Saturday, we are having Joe Frank, who is a 30-year paranormal investigator, who will be here. We had hoped to get him last month, but paranormal guy was pretty popular in October, so he'll be here. He'll be here on Saturday to talk about some of his investigations that he has been involved with over the years. It's looking like it will be a very interesting program. You know, maybe if you like ghosts and hauntings, this could be the program for you. Or if you're skeptical and want to see what someone who does that is interested in, that's all coming up this Saturday here in the community room, and it starts at 11 o'clock. Also, later this month on Saturday the 18th, we are going to have a sports writer in. His name is Marty Gitlin, and he is going to be doing a program that we asked him to present about the history of UConn basketball, the men and the women. And so as the basketball season gets ready to tip off later this month, come in to celebrate UConn hoops and learn maybe some of the history that you may not have learned. But he'll be here Saturday the 18th also at 11 o'clock. One of the other things we are currently promoting here is our little friend Sam the Stegosaurus. He is a Stegosaurus figure, and what we've been doing is on selected days hiding him. And the first kid to find him, we give them a little library challenge, and when they complete that, they get one of the prizes that the Peabody Museum had donated to us when their gift shop closed, when the museum closed, back when they started doing renovations. We have some very cool science kits. We have other dinosaurs that might be friends of Sam. And we have some art kits, all kinds of things that kids could be interested in. It's a self-paced thing. We announce the days ahead of time when Sam goes into hiding. But if you know a kid who likes dinosaurs or just science, let them know about finding Sam. We'll be glad to give you his schedule, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much as always, Kurt. Great night. Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment. Kayla did put a link in the chat if you are interested in volunteering. It is there in the chat. Thank you so much for that, Kayla. Moving on to our bylaws update.
Completed and voted in.
I just say, yeah, we voted on it last time. I don't think anybody had any problems. I don't think anyone voted. I can't call off the top of my head, but I don't think there were any no votes on it. It is up and available on our website. I'm just gonna pop this up real quick. The only things that really kind of pertain to this evening is officially, if you've been just joining us on Zoom since Zoom became a thing in the pandemic, this counts because the old wording, it wasn't clear. And we changed some of the specific wording on the officers, but the general duties didn't change. It was just stuff like the treasurer can't write themselves checks and the vice chair helps with attendance and stuff like that. So not too many changes, but those are the ones that are relevant to our election this evening.
All right. And speaking of elections, thank you so much for that update, Adam. Speaking of elections nominations, we just wanted to move into that first before going into announcements and older reports. So get into that quickly.
So we have a group of people that have been running the management team. We all have decided that we would like to continue, but we have at this point, in order to run the election, we need to know either online or in the room if there are any additional nominations, because if there are not, then we could run as a slate and just vote by acclamation and just do everyone at once, which would be much more quick. We can do it more quickly, but we can only do that if there are no other nominations. So in order to help expedite things, at this point, we'd like to open up the elections and ask, are there any people who would like to, other than the existing executive team, is there anyone who would like to run for any of the positions on the management team?
You do have to be a voting member. Just that's like the only caveat. And the only other caveat, you can't be a city employee in a decision-making position or an elected official. So
yeah, so no alders, and like Eliza, who was here, she couldn't do it. But if Elizabeth Crowledge, she's not in the decision-making level. Just to give you an example of Robbie could do it, for example, because he drives trucks for the city. So
and is a voting member.
And he's a voting member. So I'm asking for a second time, and I will ask 3 times. Is there anyone who would like to nominate anyone for any of the positions in the management team, executive committee? And then final time, is there anyone who would like to nominate anyone, themselves included, for any of the positions in the management team? Seeing none, hearing none, Adam, do you
All
see
right.
any?
Yeah, I see no one online. I see no hands raised. I see no text in the chat besides a yay from Dave. I am going to read really quickly from the actual Robert's rules. If only one person is nominated, the chair, ensuring that is in fact no members present wish to make further nominations, simply declares that the nominee is elected, thus affecting the election by unanimous consent or quote acclamation. So, and you can't like be like, I'm going to close nominations and make it sneaky. So basically nobody wants to nominate anything else. We pretty much just kind of auto win, but yeah.
So with that read rights from Robert's rules, then I'm going to declare, having asked 3 times, that nominations are now closed. And we have a slate of people. And I will leave it to my co-chair, who is running the meeting, to then pronounce that by acclamation.
So by acclamation, the executive board, as we are currently, will continue to lead the Fairhaven Community Management Team for another year.
Thank you so kindly.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone start thinking of what you can do, because we're definitely going to need some new people by next year. So you got 12 months, but think on it.
Yeah. At least 2 people want to step down. We had also agreed at the executive committee meeting that we would give each person on the executive committee 1 minute or less to say something about what they think of this last year and what they'd like to do next year. So I will set the example. First of all, thank you for re-electing me. I think we had a good last year. I think we brought a lot of things into line, updating the bylaws and just getting more people to attend the meeting. I think we still need to work on outreach in areas of the neighborhood that are not represented. That's one of the things that we need to do. And I commit myself to really focusing on that. And then more coordination with other efforts in the community that are trying to improve and help our community. People working with youth, the Grand Avenue Merchants Association, people working with the elderly. We've made some inroads, but we could do more. That is my desire, to work with the rest of the executive committee on that for next year. And with that, I'll turn it over to my co-chair for a minute or less.
I'll just come over here so everyone can see me, since you can't see me standing behind the podium. So good evening, everyone, and thank you. I feel honored to have completed my first year. I'm excited to go into the next year and beyond that, if you also choose to let me do so. I really look forward to continuing to learn with everyone, growing with everyone. I really want to focus on doing a lot more events throughout the year in the community, and just be out there and doing, I'm not sure, there's things that we have talked about, but some ideas that come to mind are things like kind of block party type things and just being out there with everybody. Other things I want to help to work towards addressing are just the same kind of social issues that we talk about every month. I want to try to work to do more work with the outreach and try to bridge gaps the best way that we can. And also I am in my last semester of classes. I'm doing student teaching next semester. So I am hoping to be very soon teaching in Fairhaven or in the city of New Haven as a bilingual elementary school teacher. So I'm really excited about that, to be able to work with families, build the bridges, and work with our children as well. So I'm really excited, and thank you so much.
Our illustrious vice chair, he makes a lot of things happen in the background. I'm just gonna pin him. We couldn't do this without him, really. Go ahead, Adam.
I think, yeah, that I am kind of a background character of, like, updating website and attendance and stuff like that. But I think that we have, like, an opportunity with, like, the website, that we could be giving more resources out, like kind of like the 211 has stuff for general Connecticut, but Fairhaven specific, what do you do if this happens, stuff like that. Also, I just wanted to note that membership in the community management team is open to everyone 16 and over. I don't think we have any 16-year-olds or close to 16-year-olds, and I think that's, we talk about the different places that we can expand our outreach and our kind of things. And I think that's another thing that we often forget about, is that I'd love to see, because there's a lot of very involved youth in our neighborhood that I've met kind of just personally, but I don't see them here. So I'd love to see them more here and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right, thank you, Adam. Am I up next? I don't want to stand, but I guess I will.
I'm Christina. I am one of the secretaries. And I think this is my second year? This is my second year recording secretary. And I think that since we're talking goals, I think it's super important that we start connecting with other management teams as well. Because I just feel like we're stronger together. And I think that's really all I wanted to talk about, is that we have to start being more intentional about connecting with the other management teams within the city if we want to see change for real. So. Yeah, we do too. Because then they don't get different areas. We do those. So you're gonna call on
Abby, and then
Hi, I'm in the Zoom room. Most of you know me, but if I've met you in person, I'm Abby. I'm finishing out my third year in Fairhaven. And this will also be my third term on a one-year term scale. Yeah, I really value and appreciate this forum. I think I've learned a lot by being a part of it about how our city works, and how to sort of make concrete change. what processes are required to permit things, to make things happen in our neighborhood and in our city. And I really just want to say thank you to everybody who attends these meetings, because I know everyone has a lot of demands on them, and nobody really has a ton of time. So the fact that all of you have prioritized this, to me, is very moving, because I think there's real power and real value in coming together and being intentional about that and having this kind of public forum. So I want to thank you all for making this a part of your routine, and also for having me continue to correspond and send the emails and do the kind of agenda gathering every month.
What is the acquisition? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, corresponding secretary. I'm the one who sends the MailChimp emails and various things.
Thank you so much, Abby. And last but not least, we have Gina, our treasurer.
This is my first year as treasurer, and what was really important to me was to ensure that the community had transparency of all the financial records. So I made sure that bank statements were attached to my treasurer's report. I also wanted to make sure that the financial records would stand any kind of audit. So if anybody came in to look at those records, no one would ever question or have any questions. I also wanted the bylaws to be changed to make sure that the treasurer's position did not appear to be self-serving. And I'm glad that everybody approved of that. Going forward, I still want to make sure that I perform my duties in an ethical manner, but I'm also a little bit concerned that my report today showed that our bank account, our balance is going down, and it's going to continue to go down. And I'm looking at ways to talk to the executive committee to see if we can have members of the community start investing in the community management team, so that way we don't have a crisis where we don't have money to donate to community related activities and for our Zoom expenses that we have.
Thank you so much, Gina. So now we'll move forward with our announcement, followed by all the reports. So quickly we have Mr. Billy Gomez. Please join us via Zoom to give a quick update on the mural at the corner of Grand and Blackstone.
We can't hear you, Billy. I think
Say
you might
you're
be muted.
unmuted, but I don't hear you for some reason.
No, he's not unmuted.
Well, now he's muted. Now you're muted, Billy. Oh, yeah. You're not muted, but I can't. Are you saying anything? Because I can't hear. Yeah, there. Check your mic, and maybe we loop back to Billy.
So we'll try to loop back, and if he's not able to speak, then he did share an email with me, and I can share, but we'll see if we can get him back. On the next two, ward redistricting and election day, Dennis, one of our members, actually brought this up. When the elections happen, their redistricting will take effect. So literally some streets will move over into other wards. But that is not true right now. So what you need to do is for the election that's coming up next week, if you have any doubts, contact City Hall, go on the website to see where it is you vote. Chances are, if you lived in Fairhaven, you voted the same place you voted last time you voted for Alder. But if you want to check, go ahead and check that. What you need to know is that when we vote, then the redistricting will happen, and henceforth, there might be a chance that you might vote somewhere else. So we want to, at the next month's meeting, if not in January, we want to bring the redistricting map and put it up on the screen for everyone to see how they may have moved. Now, some people they get that. They see a map and they see it immediately. If that is a problem for you, you can actually go on the Board of Alders page of the website and you put your address in. And when you put your address in, it tells you who your alder is. So that is another way to do it. But we're committed to bringing that map once it begins to take effect. We didn't want to bring it this month because we don't want to confuse people. Go to the place you went last time if you voted here. Go on the website if you didn't live here. The other thing we want to tell people is it's really important that you vote even if there is only one candidate, because voting signals to City Hall that the people in your ward are committed and participating. To give you an example, we just had the elections for the primary, and Ward 15 went from a little over 100 voters to over 300 voters total between both candidates. That made the New Haven Independent. It became the third highest number of voters per ward, and that matters because when people from Ward 15 go to speak at City Hall now, they say, oh, something's happening there. The numbers are going up. Let's pay attention. So please go and vote, even if there's only one candidate. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes. So with that announcement, see if Billy's available now.
Oh, and then just before we go to Billy, I just wanted to throw out real quick. Remember that where you vote for local elections and where you vote for national elections can be 2 different places. So make sure you go to the local election one. I got a postcard a couple days ago that said, go here and this date and do this stuff. So check your mail from the last couple days and you might have that as well.
Yeah. So now we're gonna try to get Billy back.
No, you're still muted, Billy.
No, Billy, I'm gonna go ahead and tell what you said in your email. So a few months ago, Billy came to us. He said that Yale University's the mental health program that he works with had received some funding from Yale, and they had contracted. No, I can't remember his name. The Kwandu, the black.
Kwejo Ade.
Thank you, Kwejo Ade. He has, in fact, completed the mural for on the corner of Grand and Blatchley Avenue. So if you look kitty corner from Fame, the old Columbus School, if you look kitty corner on the pharmacy, you'll see a almost 2-story mural. So what they want to do is they want to inaugurate that mural, and they'd like to have community participation. If you would, in fact, pick the date for that, Billy.
Yeah, it's in the chat here, Lee. It's Saturday, November 11th at 11 o'clock.
So the 11th month, the 11th day at the 11th hour, that is when it's going to happen. And it'll, I'm sure, be fairly brief. So try to be on time. And if there's anything else, Billy, maybe you can put it in the comments.
All right, thank you so much for that update on Billy's behalf, Lee. And we'll move over to forward with the Alder reports. I know Alder Kupo was on, but she did leave a couple of updates. She had to sign off.
Yeah, do you want me to read those real quick?
Thank you.
So yeah, Elder Kupo, she was here, but she had to put her daughter Ada to bed. You can reach her at ward8@newhavenct.gov or kupo48@gmail. And her number's here as well, 203-584-7071. She also reminds us to go vote on the election on November 7th. And also mentions that there is a referendum on the ballot about the charter revision. Shall charter changes as recommended by the Charter Revision Commission and adopted by the Board of Alders be approved and adopted? And then the individual changes below will not be enumerated on the ballot. So the ballot's not going to say what all those changes are. But she mentioned that includes 4-year terms for mayor, alders, and city clerk, alders, and your stipend goes from $2,000 a year to $5,000 a year, explicitly clarifying that alders must approve all city contracts of at least $100,000. Extend the window for the alders approval of appointees to city board and commissions from 60 to 90 days. Move most requirements for department heads out of the charter and into the code of ordinances, making them easier to change. Make language in the charter gender neutral. And then I'm going to skip ahead that Petizia had mentioned that there might be other things. I encourage everyone to go online, read through the whole charter thing. The New Haven Independent also has an article and a link to the entire thing. If you want to know for yourself exactly what things are in there, it's not going to say on your ballot. It's only going to say yes or no. Do you want it or do you not? So learn about it before the 7th. Alder Cupo's note number 2, the City Plan Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 8th at 6 p.m. via Zoom for a site plan review of the 873 to 897 Grand Avenue. The applicant has proposed demolition of existing buildings and construction of a 112-unit residential building with a parking on the ground floor in the BA and RM-2 zones. Lion Street neighbors have met with the applicant and developer, but remain concerned about building height and shadows, among other issues. I encourage neighbors to attend the public hearing and testify. Everyone will receive 3 minutes for oral arguments, and written testimony should be sent in advance of Wednesday meeting to cpc@newhavenct.gov. So if you want to talk on the site plan review of 873 to 897 Grand Avenue, you send written testimony to cpc@newhavenct.gov, and if you show up, you get 3 minutes. And that concludes Alder Cupo's stuff.
Thank you for giving us a breakdown on that, Adam. I really do appreciate it. I know with Ward 9, I don't see Alder Claudia Herrera here at the library. I haven't seen her online. I don't think. I'm not sure if there is any updates.
I was gonna say, I think our the almost Alder was here.
Oh, Frank or Caroline?
Caroline.
Oh, she was. I think she had to hop off.
Okay.
Even if they are, only alders go in this category. You got when they get
Okay. All right.
With Ward 10, Alder Ana Festa. I don't see her here in the library. I don't think she's joining us online either. Sometimes they have other meetings, things of that nature that they're not here, but you can always feel free to reach out to them via phone or email. The information is on our agenda as well for those of you here at the library to get in contact with them. Sarah Miller with Ward 14. I know she did have some updates. Are you going to give those, Abby, or?
Yes, I can. Alder Miller has asked us to share, in addition to the news about the general election and the charter revision. I will send all of this in a follow-up email just so you all have it in writing, because I believe her letter is like 10 pages long. But there's an upcoming Thanksgiving lunch on November 20th at the Atwater Center. You're invited to donate and volunteer. There'll be information about how to do that in the letter. Fairhaven Community Health is expanding, as you know. One other thing important for this weekend, there will be a Dia de los Muertos parade on the 4th, starting at Bergamos at 4 p.m. Saturday. There's going to be food, live music. Information will be found in her letter. There is a Festival of the Resistance on November 19th at Bergamos with great food, music, political education workshops, and party. There is going to be a gathering to mourn the loss of life in Israel and Palestine on the 9th. And that will be at the New Haven Free Public Library at the Ives branch. There's a number of other things, including the Redenti's package store hearing, the last Common Ground mobile market. You can read all of that in this letter, but I've just called out a few highlights. Right. So yeah, thank you to Alder Miller for all of her compiling of quite a number of events that are going on this fall.
Thank you so much for providing those updates for us, Abby. Yes, please.
There is a very important announcement. I don't know if everyone saw it in the chat from Billy announcing at the event on the 11th at 11, The food will be from Salsa and drinks will be from Cositas Deliciosas.
Yeah.
And if you've ever either eaten from there or drank from there,
Yeah.
you're missing something. You should go to this event just for the food, okay? So Billy, thank you for that.
I think that was a recommendation from Dave, but maybe they will come through. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And with Ward 15, our Ernie Santiago, he is not here nor online. I don't think we have any updates on his behalf either. And Ward 16, Albert Jose Crespo, he is not here online nor in person, and we have not received any updates from him either. So, again, please do reach out to them, invite them to our meetings, and feel free to reach out to them with any other questions or concerns as well. I would like to move forward and call to adjourn this month's meeting.
So move.
Well,
go ahead.
do we have any community announcements? Just to throw that wrench in there.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, just anyone, when they didn't.
There's
Hi, could I have 3 minutes to make a quick announcement?
2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 max. Go for it, quick.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joshua De Anda. I work with the Urban Resources Initiative.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
With URI, we plant the city's street trees for free for anyone that needs or wants a free tree in their curb strip in front of their lawn. I'm here because we recently received a multi-million-dollar grant from the Forest Service. It was in the New Haven Independent and in various other publications. But that grant is for environmental justice neighborhoods. So neighborhoods who are extremely diverse and culturally rich, but have very few environmental amenities and benefits. Fairhaven has the lowest canopy percentage in the city compared to all the other wards in New Haven. And Fairhaven is one of those environmental justice communities that URI is going to focus on in the next 5 years to plant thousands of trees. So I'm here, we're a request-based service, so we will only plant a tree if someone requests the tree. It doesn't matter if you're a renter, if you're a homeowner, anyone can request a tree. So if I can send out information with like a URL to submit online, so flyers, and the only requirement is that you water the tree for 3 years, and it's about $13 if you water it once a week, every week for 3 years. About $13 to have a beautiful tree and a beautiful canopy. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we had a couple, I'm not sure if there are questions online. I see Paul and Sally.
I missed your last name.
Thank you. Can you just tell me, once the trees are planted and they're watered, what happens with the care of the tree? If it's in the tree belt, what happens if the tree has a split branch or, needs to be trimmed in order for pedestrian access on the sidewalks? Who does that?
That's a great question. URI will take care of the tree for the first 5 years after planting. We check on it after 1 year, after 2 years, and the 5th year. So we will trim it. We will take care of it. After 5 years, it's the city's responsibility to upkeep it.
So after the 5 years, then how is that reported? Is that like a see, click, fix thing or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And one last question, Paul, or comment?
Hi, I live on Front Street in a condo complex that goes for about 4 blocks along Front Street. And there's a type of tree, I'm not sure what it is, but they all seem to be dying off. Would your program be willing, or is it capable of replacing those trees, taking out those trees and putting the new ones in? They're city trees. It's on city property between the sidewalk and the road. But whatever trees they are, they're all dying off. So I was just wondering if it'd be possible you could replace them with the grant or the money that you have for this program.
Yeah, if you go to uri.yale.edu and make a request with us, we will go assess the site and have the city prioritize that tree removal. If it is indeed like a bad tree, you'll get bumped up the list so they can get removed, and then we will go and plant the tree.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Security just told us we have to.
Yes. Okay, I stand by my commitment. I propose we end the meeting.
Second.
Second, we don't need to vote. We're done.
All right, they're getting booted out of the library. I saw Denise said we'll send flyers. Are you on the email list, Denise? If anyone is not on the email list in person, go tell Christina. If you're not on the email list digitally, you can go to FHCMT.org, and in the top right-hand corner, it says join our mail list, and you can put your email in there. And that's kind of where all the minutes, the announcements, all that kind of fun stuff comes every month.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. So, like, little bits that areas with trees and more like suburbs and